because you have to keep training in order to run that race. That's right.
Otherwise, you're in trouble.
Absolutely. Not at mile 26.2 either.
Yeah.
Well, we are about to go live, and everyone has been asking for you, so I'm going to just greet everyone. I told them scheduling permitted. Good day to everyone. Thank you for tuning in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, which is brought to you daily by Fiji Water. I'll give you that spiel in a moment, do a little business with our sponsors, but I'm excited because with us today, as always, our monthly contributor, Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian and nutritionist. But we thank you all for tuning in, for allowing us to come into your listening and viewing environment. We are always here with you in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, Monday through Friday from 12:30 p.m. until 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time, right here broadcasting live from the FijiWater.com sponsored studio. And before I announce our sponsor, I just want to give Becca the opportunity to greet all of you, because you've all been texting and communicating, asking when would she be back with us. And I said to you all, Becca has a career. This is her contributing to the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, but I assured you all she'd be with us, and Becca is here with us today. Becca, say hello to all of your listeners and viewers.
Hey everybody, I'm so excited to be back after a little hiatus, but I'm really excited to get restarted on focusing on nutrition every month.
Well, I always tell everyone that you are with us scheduling permitted because you have so much on your calendar, but we are excited to have you with us today in 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, where you get to discuss all the topics that are important to you and all the issues of life that you find challenging and that you find difficult to navigate. So Becca is here with us today to discuss diet and nutrition. And as always, 3D, the Daily Divine Direction broadcast, is brought to you by Fiji Water. You all should know by now, but for all of our listeners and viewers, Fiji Water is Earth's finest water. It starts as a tropical rainfall which slowly filters through layers of volcanic rock, where the water collects in a natural, sustainable artesian aquifer where it is bottled right at the source, free from human contact until you unscrew the blue cap. Fiji Water, Earth's finest water, will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money at FijiWater.com. This is not just ordinary water. This is Earth's finest water at FijiWater.com. So I want to, if I may, I want to just remind everyone, tune in YouTube, Facebook, and on RadioFreeNetwork.com. So we are live right here, and I want to turn the broadcast over to Becca because she has a topic for us today that is life-changing as always. But I'm excited about today's topic also because this is something that I need to be updated on also. And so Becca, will you take over?
All right, so today I want to just talk about weight loss. You know, I think as humans, so many of us have been at a point in our lives where we've either felt like we needed to, or maybe we even have been told that we needed to lose weight, you know, by a healthcare professional, by our spouses,
Yes.
or just that voice inside your head saying, you know, we need to lose some weight here and focus on your health. It's such a common thing. It's Googled so many times over the course of the day by probably everybody on this call at some point in their life. So I want to just take some time to kind of break it down and go over, you know, how we can lose weight, some barriers you might face in the process. So let's start off with the basics here. So we have the amount of calories that our body needs to maintain itself. And then we use energy over the course of the day through movement, through digestion and absorption, through exercise. So we burn calories, and that's what we call calories out. And then whatever we put into our body through food, liquids, that will be your calories in. Now, to maintain your weight where you're at currently or at any point in time, we would want those numbers to match as close as possible. So you would want your calories in to be equal to your calories out and to be in a neutral energy balance is what we call it. Now, if you were trying to gain weight, you would want to have more calories in than what you're expending. And then if you want to lose weight, you want to have less calories in than calories out. So there would need to be a deficit between what you're taking in and what you're putting out, okay? So we've gone over the basics. Now, a lot of people, they create that deficit to lose weight a few different ways. So you can either do it through food, or you can increase that calorie out number too. And usually that's done through exercise for most people, whether it be cardio, weightlifting, a combination of the two, or, we can cut calories. So a lot of people think it's as simple as calories in, calories out, but unfortunately, it does get a little bit more complicated and I want to get into that in a moment. But I also want to kind of go over the fact that, for many people out there, maybe earlier in your life or at, a period in time, some strategies you did to lose weight worked really well. You lost weight, you ended up regaining it just, through the holidays, through being busier at work or being busier with family and not having quite the same amount of time to dedicate to your health. So for whatever reason, you regain the weight. You try and do the same strategy to lose. You lose a little bit, maybe not quite as much as the last time you did that. And then for whatever reason, maybe you gain a little bit of weight again, and then you use those same tactics that you had in the past. It's just not quite working. And you might even get to the point where you can't lose weight at all doing those same things that you had done. And there's a reason for that. And that is metabolism. This is such an important factor that not a lot of people think about, and not a lot of people realize that a dietitian can help guide you in boosting your metabolism or doing activities and guiding you in ways that are going to help you be able to successfully lose weight again. I can't tell you how many times I've heard the excuse, I know it's just, it's my age, I can't lose weight the way I used to, and age might be a small factor, but it's definitely not impossible to lose weight at any age. So let's get into the nitty-gritty about metabolism. But before I do that, I want to just stop because I know I threw a lot of information out there. So any points you need clarification on or any questions that we have at this point?
So, Becca, I do have a question that
Okay.
I want to ask for all of our listeners and viewers. What is the appropriate number of calories that we should be taking in, or does it vary from age to age?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it does vary a lot for everyone. It varies based on your age, your height, your weight, your activity level, your body composition, so how much muscle mass you have versus fat mass. So it's very, very different for everyone. And
Okay.
that's why the same approach for losing weight does not work for everybody.
Okay, so there's a lot of variables there then.
Lots of variables.
And
Probably a lot more than I'm not even mentioning.
And how do we find out that information?
So it's really hard to determine what your exact calorie needs are without really expensive equipment. But a pretty good way to get an estimation would be to do a body composition analysis that does look at your bone density, your muscle mass, your fat composition, and that can give you a pretty good idea of your basal metabolic rate. But then you also have to consider how many calories are you burning over the course of the day. So it's going to be very difficult to know exactly how many calories you need on a daily basis, and chances are it does range from day to day based on what you did over the course of that day.
So
But I'm actually going to go into detail about what affects our overall total daily energy expenditure and also our basal metabolic rate. And the basal metabolic rate is basically the amount of calories that your body requires to maintain itself at rest. So if you were in bed all day, every day, that's the amount of calories that your body would require to maintain that weight.
Okay.
So a few things go into your metabolism, or a few things can affect your metabolism. So we already said what it's predetermined by: age, weight, height, body composition. So those all make up your basal metabolic rate. But then there's some things that can decrease it, and then there's other factors that can increase it. So a calorie deficit over time, so cutting calories for an extended period of time, that can cause a decrease in your basal metabolic rate, a loss of muscle mass, and then certain conditions like hypothyroidism is a big one, because it actually, your thyroid controls your metabolic rate, and if it's not functioning at the level it needs to, your metabolism can slow down. So let's think those three things through. You know, how many people, to lose weight, they cut calories, right? And then you kind of just feel like, okay, like it's working, I'm gonna stay at this calorie level. You get used to it, you stick to that number, even after you stop losing weight, just because you kind of built that habit of eating that way, and you stick with it over time. So that's number one. That's the first thing that could potentially be decreasing our basal metabolic rate. The second is loss of muscle mass. When we lose weight, we don't just lose fat, we can also lose muscle. So if you've lost weight, chances are you lost muscle on that process. That's going to decrease your metabolism. And then also maybe being less active than you used to. This is where age does come in. As we age, we do tend to gradually lose a little bit more muscle mass every decade over 50. So that could be a factor. And then the hypothyroidism would be that third factor that could affect it. So, you know, if you've lost weight a few times, you've stuck to the calorie deficit, you lost muscle mass in the process, you've decreased that number that your body requires at rest significantly over those several weight loss attempts. So now that number that you have to get into a calorie deficit becomes a lot lower, and you have to then restrict your calories a lot more than in the past, or do a lot more exercise to have the same results. So, you know, obviously that's not a healthy way to go about it. There's a certain calorie level that you need to maintain, and you don't want to exercise all day just to achieve the same results. So let's talk about how we can increase that number. So we can increase it by increasing our calorie intake, you know, bumping up our calorie level, maybe potentially doing like a reverse diet phase after losing weight. That could be something that helps get your basal metabolism back up. Increasing your protein intake, and then also doing strength training. So strength training is a great way. That's what increases our lean body mass. So that's going to also help boost your basal metabolic rate. So those are the things we want to kind of focus on, and it's really hard to figure this all out on your own. So I highly suggest, you know, working with a dietitian or an obesity specialist or somebody who's going to be able to guide you in this process, because it is a lot to do on your own.
Okay, so let me just pause to remind everyone. You can go to Rebecca Buva, licensed and registered dietitian.com, BeccaTheDietitian.com. That's where you want to go. And Becca, if you would share with all of our listeners and viewers, before I take a moment to do business with our sponsor, would you share with everyone the insurances that you currently are taking? You need to contact your insurance provider, and I believe Becca can also help you with that to determine whether or not your insurance will give you so many visits with a dietitian, nutritionist annually. But Becca, would you share all of the insurances that you currently take?
I accept Aetna, Cigna, Blue Cross Blue Shield, and United Healthcare. Typically, a lot of these plans are state-based, so if you have a PPO plan, I can accept you from anywhere in the country, or if you are in a specific state and you have an HMO plan, you might just require a referral.
Okay, so I need to say that because it's real important that we are getting this information, and the reason that Becca is our monthly contributor is to make sure we have this information. So what we've learned so far, Becca, you know, and I'm going to speak for all of us, what we've learned so far is that there's a lot of variables to this. We need help to be able to identify what is necessary to improve our health and wellness. So Becca's giving us a lot of information, but we need to make certain, as Becca said, we need help with this. That's why we have Becca, and thank God for Becca. So Becca, I have to say, I'm just going to take a moment to do a little business with our sponsor, and then I want you to please continue, because this is important information for all of our listeners and viewers. So this segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So if you are not currently a T-Mobile customer, you may call or text on the T-Mobile call or text line at 267-992-1000. 1424. We will move you into our queue so that you may become a T-Mobile customer and experience America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. Taxes and fees are included in your bill, and if you auto pay by attaching a credit card to your account, you will receive a discount on your monthly bill. T-Mobile, America's largest, fastest, and most reliable 5G provider at no extra charge. So Becca, if you will, if you don't mind, I'd like to share something personal that you shared with me this morning.
Sure.
And then I'd like to expound on that just for 1 second so you can take us through the rest of the information that we need for our health and wellness. So Becca and her husband are now training for a marathon. And I'm a marathon runner also. One of the things that I've been encouraging everyone to do, Becca, even in your absence, is during the summer, and I'm going to hit a question for one of our listeners and viewers also while I'm saying this, is that, summer's halfway over. And many of us in this region, we've been doing a lot of exercise. I'm encouraging everyone to do that. And as you know, I run, but I don't look like you and your husband look as a runner because this isn't the only reason, but I'm much older than Becca and her husband. So Becca, with regard to running, and particularly now that you're training for this marathon, what are you doing to make certain that you, in your case, are not losing weight, but in my case, I need to lose weight. I need to keep my weight down. I know the two of you are, just in incredible physical condition, but and I said that because it's true, not because I love Becca, which I do, but Becca, could you share, because as you said before, there's a lot of variables for each and every one of us.
Yeah. So really the things that we're focusing on just to, be able to keep up with our training, have good energy levels between training, promote muscle recovery. So really, I'm always focused on hydration, but especially now, I'm really drinking lots and lots of water, getting my electrolytes in after training sessions, especially in this heat we've been having.
And
that's number one.
What are you using for your electrolytes?
So I use either Gatorade powder or I really like Liquid IV, but some other popular electrolytes out there would be LMNT, Noon tablets, which is spelled N-U-U-N. Pedialyte, there's a lot of different ones out there. So not only hydrating, but also repleting your electrolytes is really important to prevent cramping and, issues like that. So we're hydrating, we're eating plenty of protein. So I have protein with every meal, every snack. There's always a protein source there. That's really important for the muscle recovery as well. I've actually increased my calorie intake to keep up with that, with the, my higher energy outputs from more exercise. What else am I doing? Let's see. Lots of stretching. Stretching is always important.
Okay.
And another really good thing I've been doing is weight training. So usually during a marathon, you're so busy with running, you have very little time for anything else. But on my days where I do short runs or maybe I have like a active rest day, I'm doing weight training because I know that is going to keep my muscle mass up and keep my metabolism up too. Excellent.
So for all of us, that's something, because I've been encouraging people to run and walk and of course all of those things, but now you've heard from the expert, BeccaTheDietitian.com, okay, how we can make those changes that are necessary to improve our running and at the same time make certain that we either maintain your weight and muscle by weight training and doing all of the things that Becca just said, protein, taking in more protein. Now that's something I'm going to have to work on, but we'll talk about that off the air. But this is, so everyone knows, running a marathon is 26.2 miles. So that's what
it's
Becca,
a lot.
yes, so that's what Becca and her husband are doing right now. They're preparing for a marathon. And so it's real interesting to hear that there's variables. We know everyone's body is different, but Becca, if you will, take us through some more information on our metabolism and how we can make certain that we are really, really monitoring our weight and losing weight if necessary, because I know I need to do that. I need to make certain I'm losing a few pounds even during the summer. So can you walk us all through that?
Yeah, so I touched on probably the largest area of our total daily energy expenditure, which is the basal metabolism rate, the basal metabolic rate. That's actually going to be 70% of your total daily energy expenditure, but there's a few other ways that you can increase the level of calories that you burn over the course of the day through actions, on a daily basis.
Okay, I can't wait to hear this one.
Yeah, so the second largest area to make a difference in what you're putting out, your energies out, would be non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So this would just be the natural movement in your day. So it's, getting out of bed in the morning, walking to the bathroom, brushing your teeth, walking to the kitchen, making your food, taking the dog for a walk, or just going for a walk around the block. All of those movements in your day that aren't necessarily structured exercise. So it's not like going to the gym, running on the treadmill, or going for a jog, or doing the elliptical or lifting weights. This is just a natural movement in your day, and that's 15%. So that's the second largest category, right behind your basal metabolic rate. So you can really make a huge difference in your day just by upping your step count, going for walks, getting up, moving around over the course of the workday. That's going to make such a difference. So I strongly encourage that. The next largest area, which is about 10% of your total energy output, is actually from food. So it's called the thermic effect of food, and it's the amount of calories that your body burns through chewing, swallowing, digesting, absorbing, and metabolizing the food that you eat. And the nutrient that has the highest thermic effect is going to be protein. So that's just another reason why we want to increase protein intake and make sure that we're eating enough protein, because it's going to help you burn extra calories during the day, and it's going to increase your BMR. And then the last category, surprisingly, would be exercise activity thermogenesis. And that's only about 5% of your total daily energy expenditure. So, doing the elliptical, going for runs, things like that, you're not going to burn a ton of calories in the grand scheme of your day, but it's definitely something that's going to promote heart health, prevent cardiovascular disease. So I don't want to say don't do this, because it definitely has a really important role. But in terms of weight loss, doing more cardio isn't necessarily going to make the biggest difference. So I would recommend doing a combination of cardio and strength training, because the strength training will increase your muscle mass, which is going to increase your basal metabolic rate. So those are all the things that go into the energy out over the course of the day.
So I have to say, this is very interesting, because we try things, but we're trying some of the wrong things. So Becca's walked us through our entire day, and one of the, of course, one of my takeaways, I'm thinking about all of the things that I do now. I realize that steps are very important. So Becca pointed out that just our normal course of activity throughout the day can make a change. From my perspective, I have been looking at it incorrectly, because I'm thinking I go to the gym Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. I run Tuesday, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And I try to play golf, scheduling permitted, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday afternoons. That's my goal. But those aren't doing what I would want them to do, which is causing, helping me to lose weight. It does help me, I guess, to keep me from gaining weight, but it's not doing what I desire it to accomplish. And so I'm asking more or less all of our listeners and viewers, Becca, how are you approaching your health and wellness with diet and exercise?
In terms of like my energy out, I make sure to walk. I hit my step goal every day. I try and hit 10,000 steps every day. And usually I get that from walking the dog, or I live in Philadelphia, so I walk to the store, I walk to restaurants. So, I do as much walking as possible. So, the goal if you're walking on the golf course, you're going to increase your step count.
Yes.
That would definitely count towards this.
Yeah, so I too, like Becca, try to hit 10,000 steps a day. Some days I get over that, obviously, if I'm running in the morning and playing golf in the afternoon. But, you know, these little things, and Becca, if I may, I'm not going to preach, but, you know, the Bible says the little foxes spoil the whole vine. It's the little things that we do or don't do that have an impact, positive or negative, on our health and wellness. And what Becca is doing for us is walking us through every component of life that will improve our health and wellness. So, Becca, I have a question from one of our listeners and viewers also. You know, I've talked about this many times about getting annual physicals, and someone actually, I've actually had several people say, well, can I do it every other year, or can I do it every 3 years, or why is it so important to get a physical annually? And I've addressed this, but I think people are tired of hearing me say it because they're asking questions. Would you explain to our listeners and viewers, because someone sent in this question, why is it so important to get a physical annually?
Yeah, that's a good question. So, and I can understand it's a lot. You know, it's hard to get doctor's appointments. You have to take time out of your day. But it really is so important just because if something starts to trend in the wrong direction, so maybe you go 3 years in a row and you notice that your LDL cholesterol is still normal, but maybe the first year it was 80, the second year it was 90, the third year it was 95. It's trending in the wrong direction. So you can look at those trends and say, okay, I need to make a change before this becomes an actual problem and gets out of the normal range. So just staying on top of those numbers before a problem arises, that can really make a huge difference, you know? We want to prevent things from happening. We don't want to treat them once they happen.
Yes.
So that's why you want to go every year.
So it's not a cliche. It's, you got to know your numbers. And here's the reality. The reality is we want to participate in preventive medicine as opposed to treating with medication. Make sense? So we want to make certain that everyone is getting this information that is necessary. But I have to say I'm at my doctor every year, and thank God I don't have to go for anything else other than an annual physical. We need to make certain that we get our physicals annually so that, as Becca said, we know exactly what our numbers are and make certain that they're not trending in the wrong direction. So someone asked Becca, half the summer is over, and I mentioned this a little earlier too, but they want to know what can we do with the remaining summer to really ensure that we're losing weight. That, you know, obviously they I guess what they're saying is the first half of the summer they really haven't worked on that. So what can they do with the remaining summer to ensure that they lose weight?
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty much everything we've been saying. You know, make sure you're being active, trying to add steps into your day wherever you can, whether that be going for a walk every morning or after dinner every night, or even just doing little things like parking further away at the grocery store so you have to walk a little bit more, or taking the stairs instead of the elevator. Things like that, they do make a difference over the course of a day, a week, a month, a year. You know, it might not sound like it could, you know, maybe it's a difference of 50 calories in a day, but if you save yourself 50 calories a day over 365 days, you're saving yourself 18,000 and some change calories.
Wow.
So, you know, even those little things, over time, they do compound and make a big difference.
All right, so we want to encourage everyone, let's not waste the second half of this summer. And I want to just take a moment before Becca signs us off with anything else that she might like to share. This segment of the broadcast has been brought to you by Porsche America. If you are in the market for a new vehicle, one of the finest high-performance vehicles ever manufactured, go to PorscheAmerica.com. They will have a link on the site. There will be a drop box for you to find a Porsche dealer in your area. And if you're in our area, you can go to PorscheofDelaware.com, ask for Mike Didio, General Manager of Porsche of Delaware. He will make certain that you're taken care of, and if you already own a Porsche, you can call and ask to speak to Mike Adams, service manager. If you need service, they will make certain that they make an appointment, drop a vehicle at your home or office, provide you with a loaner, and return your vehicle to you once it has been serviced. PorscheofDelaware.com. And Becca, is there anything you'd like to share with our listeners and viewers before we sign off today?
Just, I'm excited to be back with you guys every month, and I hope everyone has a great rest of the summer.
Well, we are excited that you are back. And remember, BeccaTheDietitian.com is with us every first Thursday of the month, scheduling permitted. She will be here with us to improve our health and wellness. Today's Daily Divine Direction broadcast, one of my favorite shows every month, has been brought to you by Fiji Water, Earth's finest water. A taste of paradise will be delivered right to your front door when you subscribe for delivery, and you'll save money.